Hey everybody, if you want to become #1 at your company and rise with everybody else, I want to share with you my student Axel, who did exactly that, who ended up hitting #1 for a $27 billion a year company. Keep watching and enjoy. Very pumped to have my good friend and my client here, Axel, who's been absolutely crushing it. Axel, do you mind introducing yourself and sharing who you are and what you do?
Okay, so my name is Aksa. I'm a business development representative here at Salesforce. I'm from Toronto, and I'm a student at Marcus Chan's course right now.
Awesome, cool. So, pumped to have you here. So, for you, before you joined our program, what was like the challenge you're running into?
I think I wanted to be good yesterday, which is probably like, it's not like it's a challenge. It's just like I wanted to know what I wanted to know 5 years later, but I wanted to know it now. So I guess that would be the challenge.
I love it, right? Well, so some people never get to that point, right? They wait 5, 6 years, 10 years, and then they're like, I need help now, but you got there much faster, which is absolutely awesome. So for you, so why'd you choose, my program versus any other program out there?
Honestly, can I cuss or no?
Yeah, you can share whatever you want to share.
Honestly, everyone sounded like dicks. And then I was just like, and then I was just like, I talked to a lot of people. And then after a while, I'm like, I talked to Christian, who's a team on your program. Mm-hmm. And I would hear the way he was saying things. I'm like, and I told Christian the same thing. I'm like, you don't sound like an asshole. And then, and then I'm like, you actually sound like you care. I'm like, okay, so that's good. And I'm like, okay, send over what your course is about. And I read into it. And then I'm like, this actually works and makes sense. And it's just like templates and systems for what I like to see, because that's just how I learn. Like, I'm a very process-driven person. So it just worked out. For me, I think it was #1, I could feel you guys cared. #2, the material made sense and it was very systemic versus hearing people say like, go just be yourself or like be energetic or like whatever, because it's just like, it doesn't mean anything. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? And then, but once I read through your material, talked to Christian, I'm like, this actually makes sense for me.
I love that, right? And well, what's cool about you is you did your homework, you took action, and you know that I'm not an asshole, so I appreciate that. Thank you for validating that. I think that's awesome. So for you,
I always go for the negation. I don't say, oh, you're a nice person, like you're not a dick. And then
yeah. Hey, okay. That's important. It's good to know what you don't like. I think it's important. So for you, after you joined Axel, about how long did it take for you to see any type of results?
I think for the first couple of months you're training, you're trying to like figure your stuff out. But when I talked to you last time and then we were doing like a one-on-one call, you're like, this script would make the most sense for you. And I never thought about it that way, because when you cold call, I would think you have to like work around the topic. But you're the first person who told me like, no, with your voice and the way you speak, you should go like direct and just ask for the meeting. And as soon as you told me that, within the next couple of weeks, I just saw I was booking more meetings. And then like as soon as you told me that, but within like the 6-month mark, I was able to hit like #1 for meetings on the continent, and then also #1 for like the quota. So I would say it's pretty quick that it worked out.
I love it. So I love those outcomes. So for you, where do you, obviously that's cool. I love it because you're obviously making more money. You're ranking really well. What are you personally most proud of that you achieved?
I think that I was able to let go of control, which is very, very, very hard. And then because we had that talk like once for like an hour, and then I mentioned that I'm like, oh, like I'm doing all these things and whatever, and then you're like, you just need to let go. And then I'm like, I think that's the last thing you need. That's the last thing you need to do. He's like, you're already like working really hard. He's like, you just need to like let go. And then the last month when I just didn't care, like I'm like, you know what, like whatever happens. Like I'm not like, it's a job. Like I'm like, I'm doing my best. If it works out, it works out. That's when I actually hit the targets I need to hit. So that was probably like the best thing I learned.
Oh, I love that. And it's so hard to get to that point. I love it. You did it just in a few short months. So, for you, where do you think you'd be right now if you hadn't, taken action during the program?
I'd still be figuring it out. And I'll probably figure, like, by the time the year mark ends, your job's done. Like, your brand is done, your impression is done. So I'm just like, why do I want to like figure it out after I have such a, like, not a bad impression, but you're just kind of like, you're just there. Like, it's just like, and then, so I'm just like, that's probably where I would be, I think. Maybe not average, but it's just you wouldn't hit the potential you could hit so much faster.
Oh yeah. So if there was someone out there who's watching this that was a little bit on the fence about joining the program, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that, like, obviously, like, do your research and like your opinion's valid, and then do what you need to do. But at the end of the day, I came back here, and I would say if you feel like that's what I did, where it's like Marcus is not a dick and Christian's not a dick, and then you read through the material. and you're like, oh, it actually makes sense, then like I would say do it. For me, I'm just like, I saw the potential, I saw the value in it, and I'm like, might as well just do it. So I would say do your research, you know what's best for you, but at the end of the day, you will probably come back to being like, this course makes the most sense, and that's probably what's best, and the results show. So
I love it. I love it. Anything else you want to share?
No, I don't have anything else to share right now, but just wanted to say thank you. I think the best life lesson I learned, and I talked to someone else who referred me, by the way, and the thing he asked me as well, he was just like, why should I do it? I'm like, honestly, they're just very nice people, great support system. It wasn't just like they gave the material. It's just like I would message Marcus at like 8 p.m. at my time being like, I need help on something. Or like a venting session. I'm just like, or just be like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm like, I need help with this. And I'm like, he would respond right away. So I'm just like, they're very supportive. They really care. And it's almost like you have like a small community helping you to do what you need to do. So I'm like, that's probably the last thing I wanted to add.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. You're absolutely awesome. And what I appreciate most about you is you're so coachable. You execute. You're like, yep, that makes sense. Let me try it now. And you do it. And you're the best. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview with Axel and you want to get results just like her, when you want to be number one at your company, absolutely dominate and exceed your quota, click the link anywhere below this video, book a time with my team, see if we can help you as well. Thank you so much for watching.